Hey neighbor, how are you? Welcome to another exciting day of television fun and television entertainment. It is Thursday, the 20th day of June, 2019. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and I am Dan Kuntz, your host. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCWLIFE Channel. We had a really good day yesterday, and we wrapped the whole day up on Wednesday at the local television center at the Pybus Public Market. We had a private screening of our special program called Saving Rae'Ana. We invited all of the people who were involved in the making of the film, the people who are on the camera from the good folks from Douglas County Fire District Number 2, who are, of course, part of the first responders who were out there, the folks from Ballard Ambulance, the folks from Confluence Health and Central Washington Hospital were all involved. We had about 90 people show up, and we had a special screening of this 1-hour commercial-free show that you can watch tonight. 7 o'clock will be its debut tonight right here on the NCWLIFE Channel. You do not want to miss it. Of course, it tells the story of Rae'Ana Rosenberg, who fell into that icy pond in Rock Island back on Thursday, February 21st, and her remarkable recovery. It's a story of courage and of hope and of inspiration and professionalism. And you're going to like that show. And because that show debuts tonight, we're going to re-air the interview that I did with Kaitlin Hetterscheidt, who produced this entire special with a little help from her friends, and FitzSimmons, our news director. This was an interview that we aired a couple of days ago. We want to air it again this morning so we can replant that seed for you. That's coming up in the back half of the hour. Kennel cameos, because it is Thursday. We're going to get to know Lucy the dog, see if we can find Lucy home. Sports, Apple Sox won again. Mariners won. We got lots of good sports news. Lots of drugs in the regular news when we get to that. And even though it's the last day of spring, today is the last day of spring, it feels more like the first day of spring. It's cloudy, it's cool. We just had a passing shower outside of our studios, below normal temperatures. Weather forecast is coming up. Plus, the usual shenanigans, including Mike McNally's opinion, today in history, birthdays, and the obscure holiday. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, with our high-definition PTZ cameras. We're going to pan and tilt and zoom all over the place there. That's our 4K camera. That means it costs $4,000, I think. No, it actually means it's super high definition, really incredible view there from the Wenatchee Heights area. We didn't quite get those strong winds they were talking about yesterday. We did have some strong wind gusts. At one point we had a wind gust at about 40 miles an hour, but they were thinking closer to 50. Didn't quite pan out, but it was still rather blustery yesterday, and it's going to be blustery again today. But the red flag warning and the high wind watch has expired. But it is chilly out there, 54 degrees, as you can see, with some high clouds. We'll see some sunshine later on, and we continue the drying out pattern that is now prevalent as we get deeper and deeper into June. Summer begins tomorrow at 8:54 in the morning. That is the summer solstice. Camera 2, where are we off to, Megan? Well, we're going to go see, I believe that's the Orondo Rock camera, looking up Highway 97 and Highway 2. Is that correct, Megan? Hey, all right. So we have zoomed it back. Again, PTZ. The Z part of that is zoom, and we have pulled it back and moved it down the highway as people make their way on the Douglas County side of the highway between Orondo and they're on their way up to Pine Canyon or Waterville or wherever it is that you're going. When I head up to Lake Chelan, of course, you have to make up your mind. What side of the river do you want to go in? I'm kind of an east side of the river kind of guy, so you can go over the BB Bridge and up that way. But it really depends on where you're going on your way up to Chelan and points farther north. Camera 3. Let's say good morning to, that's got to be Badger Mountain, am I correct? That's an incredible view. Look at the waving wheat sitting there way back. Beautiful view. Stunning view. Wenatchee's down there. That camera is up quite a bit. And that's a lovely drive, too, and some incredible views. Once you head past Fancher and you start heading up Badger Mountain, up towards Waterville, you get some incredible views of the Wenatchee Valley. That's wheat-growing country. Up there, still a little bit of snow in the very upper elevations of the Cascade foothills. And camera 4, we're off to see the Wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. That's Lake Chelan, whatever it is. You can't. I'm starting to sing that song. Is that Bear Mountain? The Bear Mountain camera pointing up lake, beautiful Lake Chelan. So Manson just out of view there to your right. Bear Mountain is one of my favorite golf courses. Although I have never parred the 18th hole. The 18th hole is over 600 yards. I swear you can land an airplane on that fairway. And I just can't par that hole. It eats me alive. But it's a beautiful golf course, very well maintained. I got to get up there and play it. I haven't played Bear Mountain yet this year. That's our tour around the valley with our high-definition cameras, courtesy of Local-Tel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless setup. You know what that means? You do not have to have fiber run to your house to get high-speed internet. All you have to do is be able to look at one of our towers all over north central Washington. If you can point a dish to it, it'll point right back to you, and you're in like Flynn. Give Local-Tel a call. All right, from the National Weather Service at 6 minutes after the hour, let's take a look at your forecast. Again, summer starts officially tomorrow at 8:54 in the morning, but we're going to be more like spring today and tomorrow, really. That high today of 73, well below normal. Our normal high just about this time of the year, 79, so we're 79 or 80, so it's going to be cooler than normal. Yesterday's high was only 71, so they say we're going to be a little bit warmer than that, but we're only at 54 degrees right now. So temperatures just a little bit below normal. On Friday, right around normal, a little bit of warm up on Saturday, then we cool right back down again. There's a low pressure that's dipping down in from Canada that's bringing us the cooler air. We're not really looking at any rain. We did have some light sprinkles earlier today. We're kind of done with that. It is going to be breezy at times, though, still. 11 to 16 miles an hour northwest wind. It's going to pick up in intensity this afternoon right around 20 miles an hour and stay there. Dies down tonight. Overnight low of about 56. No wind at all on Friday. In fact, the upcoming first weekend of summer looks really nice indeed. Lots of sunshine, mild, high of about 80 on Friday. A little breezy at times Friday night. Saturday, lots of sunshine, 85. Nice light west wind, about 5 to 9 miles an hour. Beautiful day to go fly a kite on Saturday. Sunday, we cool down just a little bit with a high of about 80. And then right around 80 degrees, just about normal for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. No complaints at all. But remember, summer is sunny and hot for the most part. It's coming, even though it's going to be cool for the next few days. It's 7 minutes after the hour. We're getting ready to take a break and deliver your news. So go grab your cup of coffee or glass of orange juice, whatever the case may be, and come back and join me. A friendly reminder, we want to thank our friends at Confluence Health for sponsoring this program. Confluence Health, dedicated to providing safe, quality health care for everybody in north central Washington. The news is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 15 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCWLIFE Channel.
When the people you serve are your friends and family, you see the world a bit differently. You understand that your survival depends on the health and strength of your relationships. Your word is your reputation, and that doing the right thing is the only way of life that matters. At Confluence Health, we remain humble. Trust is a gift that is earned, a privilege, an honor. And we remain grateful for the trust you place in our hands.
Welcome back. High clouds, 54 degrees. We'll top off in the lower 70s today with a mixture of clouds and sun. Quite a bit of sunshine, a little breezy at times today, tomorrow, before it dies off on Saturday. And at 9 minutes after the hour, here's what's making headlines. The Okanagan County Sheriff's Office K-9 unit assisted the Department of Homeland Security with a cross-border air smuggling investigation in the Okanagan National Forest. This happened near the town of Mazama on Monday. Okanagan County Sheriff Tony Hawley says Sergeant Gene Davis and his K-9 partner Gunner, you see them there, assisted with a narcotics search of the area, and Gunner, the K-9, located 2 suitcases full of methamphetamine weighing 186 pounds. The methamphetamine was located in heavy brush in the National Forest. The street value of the seized methamphetamine estimated to be around $1 million. Speaking of drugs, the Grant County Sheriff's Office says there were 38 people arrested for dealing drugs at the Paradiso Festival at the Gorge Amphitheater this year. That added up to a total of 97 felony charges. The county said all the arrests were for drug dealing, not simple possession. Several law enforcement agencies took part in the counter-drug operation Friday and Saturday in and around the festival. near George. The annual two-day electronic music festival has been troublesome for law enforcement in recent years. In addition to the arrests, there have been dozens of people treated for drug overdoses at nearby Quincy Valley Medical Center, and 3 people have died since 2013. This year, detectives seized Molly, LSD, mushrooms, cocaine, steroids, ketamine, and thousands of dollars in cash, and 1 handgun was also seized. Well, that dog found shot 3 times near the Beehive Reservoir was shot by his owner. The man told police he shot the dog in an attempt to euthanize it. No charges for the shooting have yet been filed. The unidentified man said Louis had become vicious and had attacked multiple family members in recent months. This is according to Captain Edgar Reinfeld of the Wenatchee Police Department. The pit bull terrier dog was found June 5th off Mission Ridge Road. Reinfeld said the owner came forward the next day, and because he was an employee of Chelan County, the case was turned over to Wenatchee Police. The matter will now go to an outside prosecutor for review. Louis, now called Kane, underwent surgery to remove 2 bullets from his head last week and another surgery this week to remove a bullet from his shoulder, I should say. Well, it hasn't yet reached the level that we've seen in the Seattle area, but a task force is being formed to address a growing number of tent camps along the Columbia River in the Wenatchee Valley. Our very own senior news correspondent Steve Hare reports that the Chelan-Douglas County Health District is going to put a panel together in response to increasing public safety concerns over drug use and conflicts between transients and users of the Loop Trail.
And along with that, homeless population, unfortunately, we have intravenous drug use, and we're worried about somebody getting stuck by a needle laying on the ground down there, not to mention the fact that there are no sanitation facilities to take care of, the obvious biological products of living. So it's a problem that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed sooner than later.
That's Health Board member and Douglas County Commissioner Dan Sutton, who says it's a situation they need to get ahead of before it gets worse.
Timing is of the essence on this. We don't want this to get out of hand, and we want to get those riverbanks cleaned up because we have a lot of citizens that use those riverbanks for recreational purpose, and they have the right to a clean and picturesque, safe waterfront.
The waterfront land is owned and managed by a variety of public entities. Sutton said the task force will be comprised of representatives of both the cities of Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, along with Chelan and Douglas counties and the 2 PUDs. Chelan County PUD officials say they regularly patrol the shoreline along their reservoirs, which includes that area in Douglas County from the Fred Meyer store south to Kirby Billingsley Hydro Park. Kimberly Craig said the district works with local law enforcement to notify the people to leave if they're there and to clean up the debris. She also says if it's not on PUD property, they make law enforcement and property owners aware of it. Steve Hare, NCWLIFE News.
Thank you very much, Steve. We appreciate it. A Rock Island man has been sentenced to 1 year in jail after pleading guilty to taking a joyride through the Wenatchee Valley Mall in a BMW station wagon last month. Douglas County Superior Court Judge Brian Huber handed down the sentence for 31-year-old Francisco Samuel Kehoe. Kehoe was charged with felony DUI, malicious mischief, possession of methamphetamine, and reckless endangerment after he crashed his car through the mall's glass entry back on May 8th, drove slowly through the main walkway, reversed direction, and exited out the building. From where he entered, no one was injured in that incident. Well, at Tuesday night's regular City Council meeting, East Wenatchee City Council member Chuck Johnson announced his resignation from the council. It's effective at the end of this month. Johnson said he and his wife plan to move to Redmond to be closer to their son and daughter. Johnson served 13 years on the East Wenatchee Council. Prior to that, he served on the Wenatchee City Council. He was presented with a certificate of appreciation by East Wenatchee Mayor Steve Lacey at Tuesday's meeting. And finally, on this Thursday morning, for the last several weeks, crews have been taking down trees deemed hazardous to drivers along Highway 97, Blewett Pass. The U.S. Forest Service has been working with the Washington State Department of Transportation on the safety project, and now they have a whole bunch of logs and they're ready for sale. The logs at Snow Park won't be sold for firewood. This is according to the Forest Service, but it will be available for commercial bidding on June 24th, and that's what's making news on this Thursday morning. Our newscast tonight features our all-star lineup of Grant Olson, Eric Grandstrom, and the rest of our news crew, the NCW Life Evening News with Grant Olson and Eric Grandstrom at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. 5, 6, and 10, three chances to watch the news. You can also watch it by going to our website at ncwlife.com. You can watch the live stream. We stream live 24/7, 365. You can watch the live stream again at 5, 6, or 10, or you can watch it on demand by going to our website at ncwlife.com. Our newscast will be up and running right around 5 o'clock in the evening. We also have all of our previous newscasts archived. All of our shows, for that matter, are archived. If you miss an edition of this show or any of our other locally produced shows, you can watch them by going to ncwlife.com. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page and check out what's going on there. We constantly populate that. Be sure to like us while you're dropping by. And you can get a hold of us. You can pick up the telephone and give us a call at the number you see at the bottom of your screen. You can email us, news@ncwlife.com. You can connect with us via our website, whatever the case may be. We'd love to hear from you, our viewers. 6 minutes after the hour, 54 degrees. Going to top off at about 73 with a mixture of clouds and sun and still a little bit of breeze on this last day of spring. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE Channel.
I found a doctor that I just really, really like, and his name is Nick Collins. I just like everything about him. He's very thorough, but he's not intrusive at all, so he goes ahead and checks out things that somebody else might just let it go. Just about everything about him.
From the ocean to the mountains to the forest in between, vacation time can be a fun time. But not if your car breaks down. Let the professionals at Global Car Care be your car maintenance partners. Global Car Care, serving our valley for 25 years. With expert service, integrity, and quality workmanship. Global Car Care. They speak your car's language. Welcome back. We are live here from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee. I'm Dan Kuntz. Let's do sports. A big challenge facing BJ Kuntz in her new job as Assistant Director of the WIAA is dwindling resources for the member schools. Kuntz says she may not have the answer, but is forever hopeful of the future.
We're in an interesting time in education right now with the way funding is working and the way districts are being impacted by just different teachers' unions and a lot of statewide activity. I'm not sure I have a great answer besides the fact that we need to continue to do the work and continue to figure out creative ways, whether it's creative ways to help districts get funded differently or creative ways to staff or making partnerships within communities to be able to take on work that needs to be done. I don't have a lot of great answers, and it has been really unfortunate piece of education, and being a leader in education is seeing those ramifications and really just the personal effect it has not only on the people who are having adjustments to their jobs, but on the people that care about them, and then on the teachers and the students who, it's been a really unfortunate time, and I'm hopeful that there's some hope ahead for that.
Kuntz found out about landing her new job just about a week ago, and she said her phone's been ringing off the hook ever since.
3/4 of the reach out has been people from Eastern Washington saying, "Yay, go Eastern Washington, this is very exciting." When I kind of pursued this, I didn't think of myself as Eastern Washington going to Western Washington, but now that it's sinking in, the reality is I think I do have a pretty strong connection with a lot of people. Now that I've been a district director, I've worked with 1Bs and I've been from the 4As, so I kind of have seen all of it. I just spent quite a bit of time trying to help the 1Bs build a football schedule in Eastern Washington because it's just messy over here, and there's different issues that they have to face based on their rural communities and how spread out we are. And so I've had the opportunity to kind of get to see a lot of those things. And honestly, I think when I go to work every day, I want to dive in and do the work. But we do have those filters that pop up. And I think one of the filters that will pop up for me is going to be an Eastern Washington filter.
Kuntz is leaving her alma mater, where she's worked since 1996 as a teacher, a volleyball coach, athletic director, and most recently, dean of students. She says leaving is not going to be easy.
It'll be hard to leave the kids. I didn't realize how hard it would be to leave the kids because I had been away from them for quite a while. So, and just really I work with kind of a student services team here, and it's really, yes, it has student discipline attached to it, but it's really about supporting students and understanding the things that they're going through and trying to help them develop that grit and determination that they need. And when I worked as an athletic director, athletes, because they've been exposed to a lot of failure, they've learned a little bit more of the grit and determination, and I think it's easier to tap into it. And it's much harder to tap into it in the other role where they don't have something that they are working towards. They're not necessarily on a team and they haven't had those. So trying to help them develop those really important skills that kids need to be successful has been just really awesome.
We'll have more with our discussion with BJ Kuntz on her goals for the WIAA, and you can see that tonight on the evening news at 5, 6, and 10. Cody Darcy's 2-run home run highlighted a 6-run first inning. All of those runs, by the way, with a couple of outs. Wenatchee beating Port Angeles 9-5 at Civic Field last night. Darcy collected another RBI in the 5th on a sacrifice fly with the bases loaded to put the Apple Sox up at that point 7-4. The junior-to-be at Xavier capped his night with an RBI double in a 2-run 7th as Wenatchee wins their 3rd straight game. Ryan Altenberger also had a big night at the plate. He had 5 base hits and 5 plate appearances. He scored a couple of runs. The Apple Sox are now 6-8 on the season. Jake Salm pitched 3 innings of scoreless relief to earn the victory on the mound. He struck out 4 of the Apple Sox pitching staff, including starter Henrik Reinerstren and relievers Alec Gomez and Cameron Summer struck out 16 lefties on the night. Wenatchee goes for the sweep tonight, 6:35. James Kulak on the mound for the Sox. Port Angeles will go with Jonathan Fortner. Also, in the West Coast League last night, Frankie Neiman was 3 for 5, 4 RBIs. Victoria had 5 home runs. He hit one of them. The Harbor Cats beat Bend 17-5. Andres Sosa's bases loaded RBI sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 9th helped Cowlitz walk off against Ridgefield 10-9. It capped a 7-run rally with the final 3 innings to help the Black Bears win. Jordan Vukovic's 2-run triple highlighted a 4-run first inning for Bellingham. The Bells topped Corvallis 5-1. The Knights were held to 1 run on 9 hits with 14 strikeouts by 4 Bellingham pitchers. Colton Castellini's 3-run single in a 6-run first inning led Portland to an 8-7 win over Walla Walla. Andrew Shanks also chipped in a couple of hits for the Pickles, including a solo home run. And Tanner Parker's 3-run double highlighted a 5-run 6th inning for Yakima Valley. The Pippins, a 9-4 victory over Kelowna. Parker also delivered a 2-run home run in the 8th. He had 5 RBIs on the night. So let's take a look at the standings at the West Coast League, courtesy of our friends at Les Schwab. The Bells and Harbor Cats remain tied for first at 9-5. Yakima Valley is in third at 8-6. Wenatchee now tied with Port Angeles for 4th place at 6-8. Kelowna brings up the bottom at 3-9. Domingo Santana hit 2 home runs, had 5 RBIs. Mariners beating Kansas City 8-2 yesterday afternoon. Santana hit a 3-run home run followed by Daniel Vogelbach's solo shot, a 4-run first inning. For the Mariners, the offense helped Marco Gonzalez earn his 8th win of the season as the former Apple Sox went 6 2/3 innings. He allowed 2 runs, 6 hits, struck out 5. Seattle welcomes Baltimore into town tonight for the first of a 4-game series. Dylan Bundy gets the start for the Orioles. The Mariners will use an opener before they hand the ball off to Wade LeBlanc. First pitch against the Orioles, 7:10. To the Les Schwab American League West scoreboard, Jesse Winker's RBI base hit capped a 2-run bottom of the 9th for Cincinnati in their walk-off. A 3-2 win over Houston. The Reds became the first team to sweep a series from the Astros this year. Oakland banged out a 4-run 7th inning, beat Baltimore 8-3 Wednesday. Catcher Josh Flegley led the Athletics with a 3-run home run. In the 5th, Mike Trout had 2 home runs, including a grand slam, 7 RBIs. LA at Toronto, victorious 11-6. Trout, by the way, now has 22 round trippers on the season. And Jason Kipnis went 2 for 2 with a couple of home runs, 4 RBIs. Cleveland beats Texas 10-4. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Thursday morning. It's the 20th day of June, the obscure holiday of the day today. It's World Refugee Day, as declared by the United Nations. This is a rather sobering statistic. Every minute of every day, 25 people, right around 25 people. This is every minute of every day. Over 25 people leave their home and everything that they have, all their worldly possessions for the most part, to escape war, terror, persecution, poverty, what have you. They are refugees, and there are way too many of them. Refugees face enormous challenges and enormous issues. Can we solve this problem once and for all? There are those who say absolutely we can, and there are those who say there's no way. The vicious cycle cannot be broken. I disagree with that. World Refugee Day goes all the way back to 1914. So think about the people who simply have no place to go because what's going on in their own home, be it war, terrorism, persecution, they're out there. Refugees go back to the beginning of mankind. World Refugee Day today on this June 20th. Let's do Today in History at 26 minutes after the hour. 232 years ago at the Continental Convention, they're hanging around Philadelphia. There they are. There's the gang. George and Ben and John and Al, the whole crew there. It was June 20th, 1787, 232 years ago, that Oliver Ellsworth makes a motion at the Federal Convention to call, we won our War of Independence. Now, what do we want to call our country? And Ollie, he said, how about the United States? That was his idea. There were a number of different ideas that were floated around. Well, what are we going to call our new country? America. Just America was considered. Columbia, the United Colonies, and Starbucks. Those were their choices. They went with the United States. Oliver Ellsworth's idea 232 years ago. Happy birthday, West Virginia. West Virginia is 156 years old, entered the Union June 20th, 1863. Of course, Virginia was a big state. Civil War broke out. The West Virginia part of the state said, we want nothing to do with slavery and nothing to do with the Confederacy, so they shut off and started their own state called West Virginia, joined the Union 156 years ago as the Mountain State. And West Virginia is in a world of hurt. They really are. West Virginia has the oldest population of any state. By far, the median age in West Virginia is 40. Some very sobering statistics. 60% more people move out of West Virginia each year than move in. They are losing population rather dramatically. West Virginia is the only state in this country where the death rate exceeds the birth rate. That's not good. And finally, this, four of the five counties in the U.S. with the highest rates of drug-induced deaths are in West Virginia. But we love you anyway, West Virginia. Hang in there. Better times are coming, I hope. 156 years old today. 126 years ago today, Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks when she said, the nursery rhyme or the playground thing. Lizzie Borden acquitted. She didn't do it. According to the jury, Lizzie Borden was acquitted of the murders of her father and her stepmother. On this date, June 20th, 1893, she went back and lived at the very house where the homicides took place. They officially go unsolved. Lizzie Borden walked away a free woman on this day, June 20th, 1893, in a trial that just captivated this nation. Happy 56th birthday to the red telephone. Of course, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis, and on June 20th, 1963, the Soviet Union and the United States said there's a better way for us to get a hold of each other. Can we just pick up the telephone and say, hey, what's happening? So they agreed. They signed an agreement to establish the so-called red telephone, a direct link between Washington and Moscow. The primary link was actually severed a couple of times. In Copenhagen, a Danish farmer out in a bulldozer accidentally cut the line. Oops. And a farmer in Finland accidentally plowed it up one time when he was plowing his field. They don't worry about that anymore. The red telephone, the red hotline went into effect 56 years ago today. And 44 years ago today, June 20th, 1975, Jaws hit theaters. Of course, it became the highest grossing film of all time very quickly. And it started the trend that we all know as the summer blockbuster. Instead of doing a little bit of theaters and then making it kind of rolling out the movie over a series of weeks, they just opened up Jaws to thousands of movie theaters all over the country on the same date, June 20th, 1975, and it was no longer safe to go back into the water. What a great motion picture Jaws was, wasn't it? Still is. It's the bottom of the hour. Birthdays. Happy birthday, Brian Wilson, the leader of the Beach Boys. Paul McCartney called him a certified American musical genius, and I agree with Sir Paul. Brian Wilson, the leader of the Beach Boys, the primary songwriter, the first real rock and roll artist who was credited for writing, producing, arranging, and performing their own material. He was good, and he still is, and he's 77 years old today. Happy birthday to Brian Wilson. And John Goodman celebrates a birthday. He's 67 years old today. Of course, Dan Connor on Roseanne. Raising Arizona. Barton Fink. The Big Lebowski, one of my favorite movies. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? He was in Always, The Babe, Flintstones, Coyote Ugly. Saturday Night Live, has done some cameos on Community. Happy 67th birthday, John Goodman. He's a very, very good actor. Terribly underrated, in my opinion. All right, 31 minutes after the hour, we have a brand new opinion from Mike Magnotti that's coming your way here in just a couple minutes, plus my conversation with the creative team to put together the show that you're going to see tonight at 7 o'clock, Saving Rae'Ana. It's a conversation we aired a couple of days ago. I want to air it again for you today because the show makes its debut tonight. Our news director, FitzSimmons, and the woman who put this whole thing together, the producer, Kaitlin Hetterscheidt. That conversation is coming up as well. But first, Kettle Cameos with Megan McPherson.
Hey guys, Megan here with the NCWLIFE Channel. We are here with Jenny, the volunteer coordinator at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and joining us this week is Lucy.
Yes.
Can you tell us about Lucy?
Sure. Lucy's about 1 year old, we think. She's a loving girl. We absolutely adore her here at the shelter. She's working really, really hard on her leash skills here. She loves fetch. She has had problems in her home before with livestock, so we definitely recommend no chickens, no rabbits, probably no cats. Other dogs, she seems to be a pretty dominant dog, but she hasn't been tested here at the shelter with other dogs, so we're not really sure how she would do other than that she seems to be a pretty dominant gal, but she's a lovely gal.
How's she with kids?
Good with kids. She's lived with kids in previous homes. She's young and she's a lab mix, so small kids would just have to be aware that she's probably going to jump until she learns not to. She should really be in a home with somebody that wants to further her training and take her on to the next level. She's in the top dog program here at the shelter, so we are working on all her basics, but she definitely needs to continue with the training too, and I think she would be a great dog.
And if someone's interested in adopting her, what should they do?
They should come on down here to the shelter and meet Lucy, and then they could fill out an application and she's ready to go home today.
The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org. This has been Kennel Cameos at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society.
Hi everyone, this is Brent Crowder. After 13 years with the Town Auto Group, I have returned home to Town Toyota where it all started. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, let me help you find the right one at the right price. Toyota is reliable and trustworthy, and you can count on me to be the same. When it comes to buying your next car, you can't go wrong with Toyota and Crowder. Ask for Brent at Town Toyota or call me now at 888-5000.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
With 15,000 square feet to explore, you'll find something special at the Antique Mall at Cashmere. For the do-it-yourselfers and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, the Antique Mall at Cashmere is the place to come find your next project. From the coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, Antique Mall at Cashmere has treasures in every corner. Come find your treasure today. Antique Mall at Cashmere's friendly staff is here to help. Stop on by today.
Where will you be a year from now? You could be working as a medical assistant. The Charter College Medical Assistant Certificate Program gets you work ready in 10 months. Add 5 more months to earn an associate degree. We prepare you with hands-on training and support you after graduation with job search help and interview skills. Institutionally accredited by the Accrediting Bureau of Health Education Schools, Charter has been training healthcare professionals for more than 30 years. Charter College. We work to get you to work.
Moving doesn't have to be back-breaking, stressful work. And I don't want you to make a move that way ever again.
Traditionally, you would rent a truck. You would load up your stuff. You would rent a storage unit. You would transport it. And finally, you would unload your stuff yourself. You don't have to lift a finger. We bring the mobile storage unit to you. We drop it off. Then one of our trusted packers can load it for you. We come pick it up and store it securely for you. We bring it back to you. No hassle, no stress.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, a good pal of mine who was raised in the Catholic Church recently said that he feels that the Roman Catholic Church is little better than a criminal organization which, due to past abuses, and specifically due to the way sexually abusive priests have been protected and their crimes covered up, that organization should be disbanded and eliminated. Well, I see his point and appreciate that he does speak as a member of that particular club, so to speak. There are many people for whom the Catholic Church is still their earthly means of connecting with God. And every church, big or small, has its problems. Now, of course they do. We humans run them. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning has been proudly serving the Wenatchee Valley for over 35 years. And just as Dick's has been there for you, they have also been an essential part of our community, supporting local youth sports all year long and your Wenatchee Wild.
Thanks for your support. Thanks, Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, for all your support. Thank you.
Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, your local, independent, trained comfort specialist. Call 884-6444 today.
Is search engine optimization right for my business? Maybe. Studies show the first and second search results get 50% of all the clicks. But you have to fight national chains to get there. If the user has to scroll down to find you, tough luck. You could hide a dead body on page 2 and the whole zombie apocalypse on page 3. Or you could spend less and get an ad in the Impact Big Print phone book, giving local businesses a chance to shine.
Impact Directories. Bigger print, better book.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz, your host. Each and every morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, we begin our program with our little tour around the Wenatchee Valley in north central Washington with our high-definition PTZ cameras. There are many of them all over the valley and all over north central Washington. And we use them as a news gathering tool for wildfires, traffic accidents, whatever the case may be. But on Thursday morning, February 21st of this year, we had no idea when the call first came over on, first of all, to Rivercom and then, of course, over the scanners, that what was going on in Rock Island would bring our news gathering team to an entirely different level. We're talking, of course, about Rae'Ana Rosenberg, the 6-year-old girl who fell into that icy pond and was miraculously saved by some outstanding people you're going to meet on Thursday night at 7 o'clock with this special 1-hour show that we've never aired before, commercial-free, courtesy of our sponsors. The show is called Saving Rae'Ana, and the two people responsible for this program couldn't make it. So I'm kidding. The lady to my immediate left is Kaitlin, who used to produce this program, of course, and to my far left is our news director, FitzSimmons, and after months and months of work, we're almost ready. Are you ready?
No.
First question for you, Kaitlin. We know because we worked with Kaitlin throughout the course of this process. Again, this happened back on February 21st, and the debut of Saving Rae'Ana is Thursday night at 7 o'clock on this very television station. How many hours have you put into this project?
Quite a bit. I think it was almost about a month ago when we had our first meetings about producing a special on this incident, and then from there we kind of got started with interviewing, and probably the last 3 or 4 weeks I've been working every day on it. So. Yeah.
Cal, let's go back to February 21st. It was the middle of the morning. It was another day for us here, gathering news, disseminating news. The call came over. We all went over to Tucker's screen. He brought up the PTZ camera. And then what?
And then what we watched was a very horrifying story unfold before our eyes. At the time it was horrifying because we didn't know the fate of the little girl. We saw a very brave crew of people rescue that girl from that pond, and we knew that that footage at that time, such as it was, and you'll see it on Thursday night, was just too sensitive to be showing our viewers immediately. So it was just as a parent, I found it very disturbing, of course, to see what had happened to that little girl.
But she pulled through miraculously. It took quite some time for the people, first of all, for Ballard Ambulance, and then off to Central Washington Hospital, then eventually to Children's Hospital in Seattle. But she survived, and at that point, the seed was planted. We had this incredible footage. What do we do with it? Walk me through that process, Cal.
Okay, I think it was the next day, the fire captains from Douglas County Fire District 2 had caught wind that we had this video, and they asked if they could come in and watch it. We said, of course, you know, and they came in, and they watched it, and it was emotional for them, as it was for us the first day we watched it. But they also were providing some narration on what was going on the video. And there are a lot of things going on there that weren't readily apparent to us. And as they were narrating that, I started thinking, this is really important information to get out, to let people know exactly how well our first responders performed on the situation. And I think it was 2 days later, or the next day, I can't remember, but the firefighters themselves who were involved in the rescue came in to watch the video. And that was a whole different sort of vibe to it. They were silent, there were tears, and it was just really, really compelling and telling of how much they care and how much the training and everything else that was attached to that paid off, and how ultimately they are human beings with emotions, children of their own, and what it meant to them.
Rae'Ana was in the water for, they think, about 15 minutes before they were actually able to pull her out. Would 16 have been too long? I mean, was it just in the nick of time for what you've learned with your interviews?
I think the most interesting part about the whole rescue was that the cold water was actually beneficial to her recovery, and so it helped maintain different body functions, I guess. And so I don't know, I can't say for sure if any longer would have changed anything, but I thought it was extremely interesting that once they all kind of were aware of how the situation was unfolding, they were talking about that they were thankful it was cold water. And the pediatrician at Central had said if it were warm water, it would have been an entire different story. So.
We learned a lot on that very day, because as soon as they pulled Rae'Ana out of the water, and you'll see that incredible footage, it's absolutely stunning. They took her straight to Ballard Ambulance, and we all were waiting for the ambulance to take off. I mean, it's off to the hospital, but they didn't. They sat there for a good 20 or 30 minutes, and we're all sitting around going, how come they're not taking her to the hospital? We assumed the worst. But there was actually something else going on, and this, to me, was the most fascinating part of that, the immediate aftermath, Rae'Ana in the ambulance.
I think watching it, your gut is telling you, why aren't they leaving? Why aren't they going to the hospital? Yeah. But we talk about that in the special too, as to why they wait, and what they were waiting for was getting a pulse back. So.
Do you have any idea, your respect level for these people, the first responders, the ambulance, the firefighters, everybody who arrived on the scene immediately took the action? Obviously, your respect level has gone from high to really high for these people.
Yeah, I think I was already walking into these interviews kind of like pretty nervous, asking them some of these questions, because it's kind of intimidating, just not knowing, you know, their full backstory or why they do what they do, but hearing their stories, and a lot of the interviewing got pretty emotional for some of them, and so Uriah was tagging along with me, and there were definitely moments where we were both like someone would finish a sentence and I just kind of had to take a deep breath and kind of ask the next question and keep going. So.
Were they responsive to your inquiries? This is Kaitlin Hetterscheidt. We have this incredible footage. You've seen it. We'd like to tell the story from all aspects. Were they like, sure, I'd love to talk about it? Or were there others who say, I'm not really comfortable with it?
I don't know specifically individually what their thoughts were. I know some of them, especially at the hospital, were a little nervous about talking about it because it was just such a team effort that they felt like maybe I was putting the spotlight on the wrong person. But once I explained that I just wanted to talk to everyone and kind of show everyone's efforts, it was pretty easy. And we were meeting with Douglas County Fire District 2 a couple times before, and Ballard, before we were actually scheduled anything. And so they kind of knew that it was a crazy story and wanted to be able to tell it and show the footage. It was the first time many of them had ever seen a local incident captured on video, so we definitely wanted to work together on that.
It's one thing to talk about what you're going to see on a Thursday night at 7 o'clock, but we have about a 90-second little snippet of the very documentary we're talking about, Saving Rae'Ana. Here's an idea of what you can expect on Thursday night.
We got the call. My swim gear is right behind me. My driver looked at me and said, "Hey, Billy, where do you want your rescue gear? You know, your swim gear that morning." And I said, "I'll just take it in the back seat," you know, and that's not normal. I knew Jacob was getting dressed. I was getting dressed en route. You're planning this stuff through your mind. You're actually playing it through your mind. Like, what are we going into?
DO-12, Chelan County has no ICE certified divers. They're checking for outside help.
Once I got on scene and got to that bank, I knew that I was going to go in the water, and I just took on that responsibility. Either I was getting in the water or I was going to be some sort of support. You don't ever know until you actually show up and visually see. Now we've got to react. You know, as soon as I got out of the vehicle, I had almost immediate sight of what I thought was her. You can see that I run down the bank, and the whole time I'm looking out into the water, and what I saw was a small hood, looked like a cone, and it in fact was her hood floating on the water.
That's the first question in any water rescue, like last known, like where's our starting point? And that jacket being that pivotal starting point, that was huge.
We ran into one of the, I believe it's sheriffs, at the shoreline, and he was our initial point of contact at the shore, giving us, his best account for what he believed was the last point seen, and then that was essentially established at that point where we were going in.
Well, there you go. That's just 90 seconds. You can imagine what the other, 58 minutes and 30 seconds are like. I haven't seen that footage since we actually watched it on that very morning. I personally have made the decision not to watch any part of this documentary until I get a chance to see it completed for the first time. Cal, you've seen almost all of it. What are you taking away from this?
I'm taking away from it that it was a whole bunch of people, highly trained, very professional people who gave this girl her life back. You watch the doctors and nurses from Central Washington Hospital. They were preparing for this girl as soon as they heard the call on the police scanner. They were setting up to receive this girl, and once she got there, they spent a real long time on her, trying to get her to where they could transport her to Seattle Children's Hospital. And they were doing this in shifts of people performing the CPR on her. And you listen to them and you think there was desperation to get her back, but it wasn't desperation, it was what they do. And yet they talk on a personal level, again, about having kids of their own and how it's just a little different when it's a little girl like this. It's just some incredible storytelling, and Kat did a great job with it. I got to say. I mean, it transitions really well. It flows. It's compelling. It's just really good television, and it tells a very important story.
You have the footage, and then you had to sit down and tell the story built around the footage. Talk me through that creative process.
It was a big one. I think our first meeting, Cal kind of looked at me and was like, I think, how about in 2 weeks we can have something to put on the air? And I just wanted to cry. I think in that
was
moment.
in early March, I might add.
Yeah. But working with that kind of PTZ footage is what I always call it, the PTZ footage. But working with that really helped me set the framework and the timing and the pace of it. And then I was able to compile these interviews and plug them in as we go, and then just flow from there. It was really kind of easy to do it chronologically and kind of intertwine all these different stories into there. So it was definitely an interesting process.
Have you enjoyed the process?
Yeah.
You're a creative person, and Rae'Ana pulled through, and she's going to live a long and fruitful life. So that probably made things a little bit easier, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. If it weren't a positive ending, I think it would have been a pretty dark project for me to be working on. There were definitely days where I'm working on a section that is just so emotional and heavy, so that, you know, someone would come up and tap me on the shoulder and I'd be like, what? Like, you get so sucked into it when you're working on it. But yeah, it was, it definitely made a huge difference that it was a positive ending.
Early on in the creative process, Kat interviewed in one big setting a lot of the people involved in the first responders at the Douglas County Fire District 2 headquarters in East Wenatchee. And when she and Uriah came back, I'll never forget when you walked in the door in the newsroom, because you were emotionally spent. You were just completely out of it from an emotional standpoint, and all you had to do was sit there and ask questions. I can imagine what these ladies and gentlemen that you were talking to went through.
Yeah, it was the first interview that I had done on this project, and even just preparing for it, I just remember being so nervous. And I had sat down and prepared as much as I could, and I'd seen that that rescue footage so many times at that point, and just loading up the van and going over there, I just was like, I have no idea how this interview is going to go, or if they even want to be sitting down and interviewing with me. But as soon as we sat down and really started talking, they were just so open, and I was just so thankful that they were really receptive to my questions, and were taking the time to really talk about their stories and share their emotions, because that's a big part of it. It was definitely a once-in-a-lifetime incident for some of these guys. So to be able to sit down and answer a question and shed a tear or two and be on camera was big for some of them, and it definitely made me pretty tired by the end of the interview. It was a lot, yeah.
This is not a one-person operation. Yeah, Kat is basically spearheading most of this with input from other people, Cal specifically as our news director, but there were two other significant members of our television family that played a major role in putting this thing together. I know you want to talk about it.
Yeah, Uriah Darby, he's a producer here. He helps with the evening news too. He came out with me on every shoot that I had for the interviews, and I called him my muscle when I showed up, because he was lugging all these bags in, and he's so tall. He was setting up all the lights, and really did a great job making these interviews look as good as we could. And Tucker Wagner, another producer who actually captured the PTZ footage, he has been kind of my sounding board, literally with the music, and helping me with sequencing and editing, because it's so much to sit down for 8 hours and lay it out, and by the end of the day, I'm just like, I have no idea if this is a good sequence or not. So I would just send him what I did for the day, and he would sit down and make notes and watch it and let me know what he was thinking, and then he compiled all the music for it too, which made a huge difference. It was great.
It's fun collaborating with smart and dedicated people, isn't it, Cal?
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, isn't it?
Just sit back, watch, and be amazed, and then try to take as much credit as you can. Always been my approach. But I think a part of the story that I think is important is how the community rallied around this girl. When we were posting updates with whatever information we could get at the time about the girl and how she was doing and everything, our social media, our Facebook page, would routinely receive hundreds and hundreds of hearts, comments, mostly prayers. There was a lot of prayer going on for this little girl as she was recovering. And the community had a fundraiser for her over at Blue Spoon. There were 2 different fundraisers online for her, and our community really rallied around this girl and her family. It was heartwarming in that regard as well.
Saving Rae'Ana, it's been a long, long process with Kat leading the way. And again, thanks to Tucker, Uriah, and Cal for pitching in for their ideas. And finally, Thursday night at 7 o'clock, you can watch it here on the NCWLIFE Channel. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to show people the story and really kind of show them the local people who worked so hard to save this little girl's life, and really kind of congratulate the community too, and thank them for stepping up for the family and making a huge difference. It's really definitely an interesting story, so I'm ready to show it off. I
can't wait to see it. It's not one big story, it's a bunch of little stories that became one big story. It really is, and I can't wait for it. I'm emotional talking about it right now. Saving Rae'Ana, Thursday night at 7 o'clock is the premiere. It'll be airing numerous times throughout the course of the next few weeks, and then we'll make it available for you to watch on our website. But we ask you please to tune in Thursday night at 7 o'clock for Saving Rae'Ana. You will not regret it. Cal, Kat, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
When you visit Harmony Meadows for tennis or their activity center, you need to drop by the Love All Cafe. Drink in a locally roasted Blue Star espresso or enjoy one of their all-natural smoothies. Show your guests the breathtaking mountains and surrounding orchards while enjoying a delightful and healthy lunch. Love All Cafe features varied noshes as well as microbrews and an excellent selection of wines. The Love All Cafe, located at Harmony Meadows in the Chelan Valley, just outside Manson.
Transform your windows with a variety of colors and styles like the Allure Transitional Window Covering by Lafayette Interior Fashions. Hi, this is Darren with Mini Blinds and More. We can install the latest and greatest in technology to open and close your blinds with only a touch of a button. From the largest windows in your home to room darkening shades for the bedroom. From stylish shades for your entertainment room to custom blinds for those hard-to-fit places. We have a solution for all of your window covering needs. We offer a variety of window coverings from Lafayette Interior Fashions. Call us today. We are Mini Blinds and More, your local blind store.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
There's a little girl fell in the lake in Block Island.
And how old is she?
I don't know. It's just a little girl with her brother.
And they're saying that they can't get to her?
Yeah.
And we are back, I think. About a minute left of this program. Let's go ahead and take a look at your weather forecast one more time. It is the last day of spring, but it's going to feel more like early spring. Summer, of course, begins tomorrow at 8:54. What are we looking at today? Partly sunny, a little breezy at times, high of 73. That's about 7-8 degrees below normal. For this time of year, it's going to be breezy. Northwest wind about 11 to 16 miles an hour. Every once in a while, we'll have a gust at about 20 miles an hour today, so we're not quite done with the wind. We have a low pressure system that's dropping down and visiting us from Canada, which is why we're cooling down and have some wind issues. Northwest wind tonight, 9 to 16 miles an hour. We're going to start out with some fairly cloudy skies, but as the evening progresses, we'll clear out. We'll get down to about 56 Friday. Lots of sunshine, about 80 degrees, very little wind to speak of on Friday. We have a little blip there. That's Saturday. We bump up to 85 on Saturday with quite a bit of sunshine and a little bit of wind, and then we drop right back down to right around normal on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Tomorrow, of course, is the summer solstice. It's at 8:54 in the morning. And 4 times a year, whenever we have solstices or equinoxes, my friend Bonnie Orr drops by to give you everything you need to know about getting your garden, all the stuff that you need to know to have a good, healthy yard and garden for the upcoming summer season. Bonnie Orr on this program tomorrow, provided it doesn't get canceled. Until then, see you. Bye-bye.